Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents FLAUNT. Drop your cover and reveal your smart, sexy, and spiritual self by Lora Cheadle. Narrated by Allyson Ryan. Introduction. The curtain rises. I believe that women deserve to be seen. And I believe that universally women want to be seen. For who they are, not for what they do. Not for who they are in relation to others or what they can give, but for themselves. For who they are inside at their most raw, authentic, vulnerable, and naked core. I believe that when women are not seen, they cannot be accepted for who they are. When women are not accepted for who they are, they cover their power, dim their light, hide their beauty, and reject uninhibited joy. They lose what I like to call their sparkle, which is everything inside that makes them uniquely, authentically, and spectacularly themselves. When we lose our sparkle, we lose touch with our hearts, we suppress our personal desires, and we fall out of love with our bodies. In short, we fall into a state of chronic self-judgment, and we stop enjoying life fully. I can hear you saying, "Oh, come now, Laura. Everyone gets those self-deprecating voices in their heads once in a while. It's not like I'm a pathetic, sniveling, groveling creature lying in a puddle on the floor. I'm a successful, happy adult." And I say, yes, you are right. To a point. It's deeper and more insidious than that. If you are anything like me, it's not the moments of, "Oh God, I am such a freaking fat and out-of-shape loser," that send me spiraling down. It's the fact that nobody notices the things I do each and every day of my life that are objectively pretty incredible. It's the fact that for many others, I do in fact keep everything together. Yet nobody really sees me. They see only what's not done. As cartoonist Bob Thaves said about Fred Astaire, sure, he was great, but don't forget that Ginger Rogers did everything he did, backward and in high heels. We are so used to dancing backwards and in high heels that we lose sight of the fact that what we do day in and day out is extraordinary. We have been fighting for our rights, for our status, for recognition, and for our voice for so long, and we are so stunningly capable of molding ourselves into our high-heeled, backward-stepping dance that we forget it is our right to turn around, take off our dysfunctional, but admittedly super cute and sometimes totally worth the pain shoes, and dance our own dance, our way. Sure, as the song says, we can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never let you forget you're a man. But is that even what we want? I don't know about you, but as a little girl, I dreamed of being a sparkly fairy princess or a ballerina. I dreamed of things that made me happy. I didn't dream of mainlining coffee so I had enough energy to power through my days, or of being more focused on completing my never-ending to-do list than on grounding into the joy of the present moment and actually enjoying my life. I didn't dream of sacrificing myself so that others could shine, or of constantly molding myself into some unattainable idea of perfection. So I ask you, what happened to pursuing our dreams and desires? It's my guess that, like me, you have lived your life covering your body, your brains, and your beliefs, somewhat terrified that someone somewhere might, gasp, get the wrong idea about you. It's time to reveal yourself, to find what I like to call your naked self-worth, which is the ability to value yourself for who you are instead of what others believe you should be, without seeking to please or conform, and to stand unapologetically in your raw truth, knowing that who you are is more than enough. Through the 5 steps of FLAUNT, you will develop your naked self-worth, expose the authentic woman you are underneath, and find your sparkle, so you can waltz into a deeply satisfying life that is happy, healthy, and burnout-free. Whether it's self-judgment, body shame, fear, an insatiable need for approval, or some other experience or story that you've internalized, FLAUNT uses burlesque as the vehicle to strip away the costumes and masks you have been wearing, release unreasonable expectations, and put down everything that's holding you back from loving yourself and your life fully. Through the 5 steps of FLAUNT, I will share the story of how I went from overachieving lawyer to fully embodied burlesque star and female empowerment coach, empowering you to reconnect with your inner burlesque star, to strip out of body shame, guilt, self-judgment, and whatever stories and beliefs are holding you back, so you too can flaunt your smart, sexy, and spiritual self exactly as you are in a way that is perfect for you. Why burlesque? Now, if you are listening to this and thinking, no way, I can never show off my sagging breasts, C-section scar, cellulite, muffin top, or whatever body part you are hating on at the moment, what I want to say to you is this: flaunt is not about getting naked physically. Unless, of course, you want to. Flaunt is about using the principles of burlesque to strip away everything non-essential that's covering your raw, beautiful soul, to strip down emotionally, intellectually, and maybe even physically, so you can reveal your whole self to the world exactly as you are, with divine, uninhibited authenticity and acceptance. The other thing I want to say is, even if it were about getting physically naked, you are more than your breasts or even your picture-perfect thigh gap. You are more than your insecurities, your fears, or your failures. You are more than a successfully completed to-do list or a cushy paycheck. Developing compassion for the parts that you do not love unlocks a deep feminine wisdom that reminds you that the very thing scaring you is the key that opens the door to your sense of unshakable worthiness. It is from this space that healing begins, and you can reclaim and fall in love with yourself, your body, and your life. And if you don't believe me right now, that's okay too. Creating and embodying your burlesque identity will help you get there. Let me explain what I mean by getting naked and being seen. When was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror and saw the truth of the woman staring back at you? When was the last time you let another see her? I know how scary it is to be honest and vulnerable about yourself, but I also know that our fears are oftentimes much greater than the actual thing we're afraid of, and until we move into those fears, we are held captive by them. Not only does being brave enough to flaunt your beauty, your brains, and your beliefs change you for good, but it changes our world. And living with your smart, sexy, spiritual self fully exposed allows you to be seen for the glittery, burlesque goddess or the badass bitch you are. When we reclaim our power, diversity, and voice, one woman at a time, we create change. If you're feeling kind of scared by this whole naked thing, I'm right there with you. I know how you feel because once upon a time I was scared too. I was scared that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't pretty enough, or smart enough, or strong enough, that I would not be accepted for who I really was. My biggest fear was that I'd put it all out there, I'd show my raw self, and I'd be dismissed as unworthy. I'd find out that I had been right all along, that I wasn't enough, and I'd be left standing there, exposed, with nowhere to hide and with nothing to cover myself. After 10 years of practicing law and after a lifetime of being a really good girl, I'd personally had enough. Enough of the cover-up. Enough of always trying to do more. So I decided to get naked and reveal myself. Literally. In my mid-40s, I became a burlesque dancer, and it set me free. Being brave enough to get naked meant that there was nothing left for me to hide, and consequently, nothing left to fear. Cellulite, stretch marks, my exhaustion, my fear that no one would see me, or value me, or love me, unless I conformed to their standards. I put it all out there without cover. I allowed others to see me as I was. I was seen. And I learned that who I am is more than enough. Think about it like this. In order for a gem to sparkle most brilliantly, all its facets must be exposed. If we want to sparkle as brilliantly as we are capable of sparkling, we must expose all facets of who we are as well. Your sparkle is your sense of worth. The knowingness that who you are inside is perfect for you. What's covering your sparkle? Is it external factors such as sexism, ageism, and racism? Or internal factors such as body shame, mommy guilt, or the ideas, stories, and beliefs you hold that may no longer be true? When you get naked and unapologetically expose all facets of who you are in everything that you do, you can't help but sparkle and shine. Are you ready to be seen for who you are, as opposed to what you do or the clothing you wear? Are you ready to find congruence between your inner being, the roles you play, and the persona you present to the world? Are you ready to connect deeply with yourself and start living and enjoying the life you've worked so hard to create? Are you ready to stop putting yourself last and to experience uninhibited joy and fulfillment every day of your life, not just on occasion? Yes? Then you are ready to flaunt. Choreographing your life and what you'll find in this book to help you. Since the three-act structure of beginning, middle, and end is used universally in storytelling and dance choreography, so too does Flaunt follow this structure to sashay you through the three acts of your own life, past, present, and future. Act 1, Recognize and Release, is your past. Your heritage, culture, and entire history, including all the key experiences or stories in your life that have made you the woman you are today. Act 1 is where you take an honest look at your labels, roles, scripts, and masks, the costumes you wear, and the overarching theme of your life, and ask, who has been choreographing my life for me? What exactly have they created? And is my life, the way it stands now, even something I want? Recognition makes you aware of what is or is not serving you, and what inhibitions you may need to release in order to soar and be seen and accepted for all that you truly are. In Act 2, you reveal who you are, exclusive of everything that you recognized and released in Act 1. This is where you boldly meet and claim your inner burlesque star, and where you learn to return an answer to the trite cocktail hour question, "So, what do you do?" that goes much deeper than merely stating your job title and relationship status. In Act 2, you'll be introduced to the 5 steps of Flaunt, and will dance your way through the first 3, so you can reclaim your joy and bravely incorporate your authentic self back into your life. Here's a sneak peek at the 5 steps. Flaunt Step 1, Find your fetish. Flaunt Step 2, Laugh out loud. Flaunt Step 3, Accept unconditionally. Flaunt Step 4, Navigate the negative. Flaunt Step 5, Trust your truth. Act 3, Re-choreograph, moves you through the final 2 steps of Flaunt and provides tips, tools, and tricks for re-choreographing a future that allows you to meet your responsibilities, but still dance the dance you were born to perform. Free from self-judgment and self-sacrifice, from a life lived from the neck up, disconnected from your body, your spirit, and your own core essence. Here you learn how to embrace your own imperfect womanhood, free from inhibition, and with the ability to be the joyous, satisfied, dare I say, sparkly being you were meant to be. What is burlesque? No, I'm not talking about a movie with Cher and Christina Aguilera. Burlesque is a glittery, glamorous, and oftentimes humorous extravaganza that originated in Europe over 150 years ago. It continued in America through the vaudeville circuits, into the glamorous 40s, 50s, and 60s, all the way to the present day through the neo-burlesque resurgence. Although some people think that burlesque is stripping, it isn't. Burlesque is a theatrical experience where the audience purchases a ticket to the show. They do not pay or tip dancers to take off more clothes, or to give them personalized attention. The point of a burlesque show is to provoke thought, laughter, and teasing entertainment. It is not about inspiring lust. In fact, although many burlesque performers go down to pasties, nipple covers, often with tassels, and panties, full nudity is not allowed. Burlesque is a parody, a grand and dazzling spectacular that points out the various juxtapositions or ironies present in everyday life and mocks many of society's uptight views. Using humor, exaggeration, and daring, burlesque showcases that which is right in front of our eyes but we choose not to see, which is what makes the removal of clothing so powerful. Nudity is taboo. Burlesque pokes fun at the fact that sex, age, sexuality, and non-photoshopped bodies are all things that we have but deny about ourselves to others. Performers tease the audience by making them think they are going to see something they shouldn't see, and then pulling it away. A good performer creates anticipation by concealing and revealing that which lies beneath her elaborate costume, always leaving the audience wanting more. Like so many other things in life, burlesque is all about the tease. When our desires and rewards are dangled just outside our reach, it entices us, keeps us playing the game, hanging on and wanting more. In burlesque lingo, whenever an article of clothing is removed, it's called a reveal. Each reveal provides the audience with a little bit more information, shows them a bit more, and gives them enough satisfaction to keep them watching, always waiting for more. Burlesque is interactive. The MC in a burlesque show typically begins by explaining to the audience that burlesque is not like traditional theater. If you see something you like and want to see more, holler, whistle, have fun, and show your appreciation. Let the dancers know that you acknowledge their bravery, their daring. Let them know that they are being seen and accepted. Sometimes when an audience is too quiet, burlesque performers even put their hand to their ear like, "Are you there? I can't hear you." The idea of burlesque is to show who we are without our masks, without our carefully constructed facades. In burlesque, as in FLAUNT, the removal of clothing signals the removal of a cultural norm, an ironic idea, a label, a role, or even a belief. For example, as polite members of society, none of us are supposed to admit that we are curious about seeing others naked. But come on, we all are. Everyone sneaks peeks, and no, not in a sexual way. As women, we check out other women. We compare our bodies, our hair, our makeup, or whatever to those of other women. This sense of curiosity is what creates anticipation in a burlesque routine. Are we going to see something we aren't supposed to see? And how will I compare? Burlesque is not about the strip. It's about the tease. The spiritual tease. It's odd to say, but my own spiritual self-growth journey mirrored the concepts found in burlesque: tease, voyeurism, and slow reveal. As a constant seeker of truth, I'd reach a new level of understanding, only to realize there was yet another layer to unveil, which flummoxed me completely at times. I'd watch others do what they did, meditate, read, and take classes. I'd study the great masters from around the world, do exactly what they did, but then I'd have a bad hair day on the same day as a catastrophic hard drive failure, while uploading pictures of my son for his middle school graduation slideshow at the 11th hour, and I'd come totally unhinged. It was almost like peace was a thing that the universe would dangle in front of me, tease me mercilessly with, but never quite let me have. Just read one more book, Lora. If you would have only meditated this morning, you would have been fine, Lora, but how sad for you. You didn't quite make it. Better luck next time. How ironic that actual burlesque facilitated my process of self-discovery on a spiritual level. Just like burlesque performers let go of their clothing, I let go of my own limiting judgments and beliefs. I shed society's labels, my own limited interpretation of myself and my roles, slowly at first, and then with increasing fervor and joy. Stripped bare, the truth of my heart and soul visible for all to see, my own sparkle was exposed. I no longer had to guess who I was or what I wanted. I knew. And with that knowledge, I could re-choreograph my life as it was meant to be. Sparkly, brilliant, and more magnificently fun than I had ever dreamed. And just like in burlesque shows, where the audience cheers wildly with the removal of each article of clothing, encouraging the performer to reveal more, so too did my friends and family cheer me wildly on as I removed layer upon layer of limiting judgments and beliefs. Through my journey, I had unknowingly given others permission to begin their own burlesque, to reveal themselves, and to finally, gratefully have the opportunity to be seen and accepted for who they were. My foray into the world of burlesque showed me that burlesque is a joyful experience for the performers and audience alike, because it busts stereotypes and celebrates women of all shapes, sizes, abilities, and ages. Burlesque is not about looking a certain way. It is about reveling in one's reality. While other middle-aged moms flock to me, larger women flock to the larger burlesque performers, and flat-chested women crushed on the flat-chested performers. Seeing performers who looked like them, with what they perceived to be their same flaws, but who dared to be confident, beautiful, sexy, or funny in spite of those flaws, set them free to embrace those same qualities in themselves. The act of watching someone just like them shed the label of fat, flat-chested, old, or ugly, and be seen in all their glittery, flawed gloriousness was enough for some women to loosen their own labels. Watching their favorite performer do all they wished they could do, seeing others react encouragingly to their visibility, empowered many women to believe that they could let go and show their true selves as well. With its focus on humor and female-dominated power, burlesque gives women explicit permission to live confidently, joyfully, and without cover. Is it any wonder that throughout my metamorphosis into an actual burlesque dancer, I had so many friends watching my every move? Every layer of fear or expectation that I broke through, every label, role, or script that I challenged, reinterpreted, or removed, gave them permission to do the same. If I could be so outrageously happy in spite of my imperfections, so could they. As I broke what I perceived to be the rules, I proved to myself that there was nothing stopping me from building my dreams and living my sparkle except me. The laughter, parody, and joy in the face of taboo and judgment that burlesque provided were the ideal combination to heal wounds around body image, sexuality, self-judgment, gender roles, power, shame, or guilt. Without setting foot on an actual stage, many of my friends were able to strip out of the fear, lies, and inhibitions that had been placed on them by their culture, family, or religion, or that were self-imposed. Just as my childhood belief that I needed to be perfect in order to be worthy became my metaphoric corset of perfection, so too could others find ways to release their own inhibitions. Not only had I disrobed physically, but I was disrobing emotionally too, by living my particular brand of sparkle. Society said that a middle-aged mom, lawyer, and spirit-based female empowerment coach shouldn't do what I was doing. But I did it anyway. Not to rebel or to create a fuss, but because it was in my heart to do it. I was no longer worried about looking like I was doing the right things for the right reasons, or being what I thought others wanted me to be. I was interested in getting metaphorically naked and revealing everything there was about myself. And as a result, I was happier and more content than I had ever been. Accepting myself and my desires as they were freed me to dance my own dance with wild abandon, and that was exactly what I did. Your inner burlesque star. Your inner burlesque star is your naked, authentic self. She is the confident, fun, playful, anything-is-possible part of you who cannot be hurt by others because she knows that accepting herself is the only thing that truly matters. Although she loves costumes, masks, makeup, feathers, glitter, the whole 9 yards, she knows how to take it all off. She's not afraid to strip down, to show off her beauty, her brains, and her beliefs exactly as they are, without apology. Do you think you might want to hang out with her? She's pretty awesome. Like playing an elaborate game of dress-up, FLAUNT allows you to put on and take off a variety of personas. And just like in a real burlesque routine, strip out of the ones you find confining, outdated, or not to your liking. FLAUNT is pure creative fun that does not require you to add to your already overly busy life. To the contrary, finding your inner burlesque star creates more space, grace, and joy in both your professional and your personal life. Because like cleaning out your closet, clearing the clutter makes it easier to see and appreciate the goodness that remains. Plus, it's fun. Creating a visual representation of your fears, insecurities, and judgments keeps it lighthearted and makes it easier to choose what to shed and what to keep. Burlesquing your life challenges you to remove your layers of judgment and protection, to face your fear of being naked, whether that nakedness is emotional, intellectual, or physical, by saucily stripping away the coverings you are most afraid to lose and offering up your raw, authentic self without apology, and to do it all with a wink and a smile. Are you ready for a burlesque dance party? Let's flaunt. Act 1. Recognize and release. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man, woman, in her time, plays many parts. William Shakespeare, As You Like It. If, as Shakespeare so aptly pointed out, all the world's a stage and each of us are merely players, playing our parts until we fade into oblivion, the question inevitably becomes, who is choreographing your life? A choreographer is the person who composes the sequence of events or moves in a dance or a play, leading to a meaningful, cohesive, and purposeful performance. While it is sometimes appropriate to allow others to choreograph your life, it is all too easy to forget that the primary choreographer is you. The legacy of regret. Let me tell you a story. I was close to both my grandmothers, who, by the standards of their day, were pretty perfect women. Although I assumed that there were things about them that I didn't have the full scoop on, I felt like I really knew them. But after they passed away, I learned I had been wrong. I found out that these women were so much more than they shared with me, our family, or the rest of the world. And because they had kept parts of themselves hidden, their true essence had been lost forever, not only to themselves but to all of us who loved them. I am not making this up. On her deathbed, my grandma looked up at my dad, who was hugely into genealogy, and said, "You know those stories about my father and how mean he could be? Don't ever worry that anger is in your lineage, because I was adopted." And then she died. We never had the chance to learn anything more or to ask questions. We knew her, but we didn't know her at all. Because she was afraid that others would not accept her if they found out she had covered up a key piece of herself in our family's history. Although we were grateful she finally revealed herself to us and allowed us to integrate this tidbit of information, it was kind of too late because we never had the opportunity to see her naked and exposed for exactly who she was. And then there was my maternal grandma. While refraining from any deathbed bombshells, she left us with just as many questions as Grandma number 1. Of course I knew she was smart. She had jumped ahead 2 years in school and had attended a private university during World War II, dropping out to get married after my grandfather came home. Sometimes she would write poems and stories that were so good that I'd ask whose they were because I was certain they were copied from some famous work, but they were always hers. Which was cool, but I never really gave it a second thought. That is, until she died. Sure, I had seen her scrapbooks and heard her funny story about sunbathing in a cemetery with her sorority sisters and getting caught by the nuns. But her scrapbooks and stories were just the tip of the vast iceberg of who she was as a person and as a woman. Although before her death...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?